Hello. Good night, guys. Y'all know I am back. Welcome to the Odyssey podcast with your girl, Word Justice. Yes, I am back in the building, and I am sure you guys see the title. And I think it is definitely well deserved. And honestly, he should have gotten more time for all that he did to these young women and even when you think about what he has been through, I don't think he needs to come out anywhere and be around nobody because he's already indoctrinated himself with the things that he was doing while he was outside in the world, making the money and having people assist him in sex trafficking young girls. I'm sorry, guys, I had to drink my water. So, I'm waiting on I think Puerto Rican's 360 is supposed to be pulling up on me, but I'm gonna just give you guys the little background story on what's going on with R. Kelly, guys. It seems like the federal prosecutors on Wednesday asked the U.S. District Court judge to sentence convicted sex trafficker R. Kelly to a prison sentence in excess of 25. That's according to the federal sentencing. Okay, you guys. All right. So I don't know. Some of you probably still play his music and promote him all the way. I'm not promoting anybody that sexually abuse young girls, traffic them, and also just mentally screwed them up. It's like a nature boy. Same way I feel. I think people like that should be locked into the jail because unfortunately, although yeah, you may have experienced abuse, you have grown to understand that what you may have experienced when you were younger, it was wrong. And you shouldn't want to bear the pain that you felt on someone else's child. With that being said, in light of the seriousness of the offenses, the need for him to go to jail is very necessary. And the need to protect the public from further crimes of R. Kelly, as well as other factors set forth in federal law, the government respectfully submits that a sentence in excess of 25 years is warranted. Prosecutors also agreed upon that. The feds also reminded the judge, in their opinion, Kelly remains technically eligible for a possible life sentence. You guys hear that? I'm going to repeat that again, y'all, because you got to hear that. The feds also had to remind the judge that, in their opinion, Kelly remains technically eligible for a possible life sentence. But they left that recommendation open for the judge to consider. Prosecutors are also asking for a fine of somewhere between $50,000 to $250,000. A Brooklyn jury convicted the now 55-year-old R&B singer, now to the court system by the legal name of Robert Sylvester Kelly, on racketeering, child exploitation, and other charges on September 27th of 2021. The jury agreed that Kelly was guilty of every count alleged, but found the prosecutors did not prove three specific sub accusations, including a Pacific victim. With the aid of his inner circles and over a period of decades, R. Kelly preyed upon children, young women for his own sexual gratification. The federal prosecutors asserted in Wednesday, okay, letting that be known. He lured young girls and boys into his orbit, offered them empty or conditioned promises of assistance in developing a career in the entertainment industry, or simply by playing into the minor's understandable desire to meet and spend time with a popular celebrity like himself. In order to carry out his many crimes and his many, and along with him carrying out these many crimes, he had a lot of assistance behind that to carry out the crimes that he did do and the acts that he did do on these young females and young boys. Like, it is what it is. They need to be locked up with him. R. Kelly relied upon his fame, money, popularity, and as an R&B recording star, and used the large network of his people status that was afforded to him, including business managers, security guards, bouncers, runners, lawyers, accountants, assistants, to both all carried out whatever he wanted and also concealed all of his crimes. He continued his crimes and avoided punishment for almost 30 years. From my understanding, the first 9 pages of the single space 31 page sentencing Miranda read like a novel, okay? As the accusation launched into a technical discussion of the offenses level for each particular act for which Kelly was convicted. Celebrity defense attorney Jennifer Bougine, who previously represented Bill Cosby, recently took on the R. Kelly case. Bougine argued in an early May 27th motion that the appropriate sentencing range for Kelly was 168 through 210 months or 14 to 17 and a half years. She noted the government had previously claimed that Kelly was eligible for a life sentence, as assertion she wished to refute. Many of the enhancements suggested by the government and probation are simply unsupported by the evidence and the law. Bougine wrote. Bougine asserted that Kelly should be sentenced as follows. The numbers indicate federal offenses levels, which are then used to calculate a sentence in accordance with a federal manual. Kane Tube TV, welcome, welcome. I'm over here, I'm waiting. I'm like, all right, I'll just, keep it going. But the link is in the chat. If you want to pull up, you could definitely hit the link. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, we are definitely talking about the shit with R. Kelly. And I must say, if I didn't get the reach out, because I got the reach out from Kane Tube TV and Puerto Rican 360, like, yo, Justice, yo, you heard what happened? I'm like, well, what happened? They like, oh, 25, yeah, R. Kelly. Because if you guys can remember from my older video, I was reporting on what was happening while his court case was going on. Welcome, Puerto Rican 360. Welcome for coming in the building. So I was surprised to finally hear that they was actually coming out with a verdict for him to be sentenced. So I was so happy when they like put me on and I caught up with the story. So that's why I'm bringing it to you guys. No problem. Take your time. So like I was telling you, uh the numbers indicated federal offense levels, which are then used to calculate a sentence in accordance with a federal manual. Okay, here we go. We got Puerto Rican 360 in the building. Give me a moment, guys. Welcome, Puerto Rican 360.
Peace, peace. What's going on, Justice?
Yes, I was waiting on you while I was also giving the rundown. And I was just telling them like I was grateful for you guys to actually let me know what was happening prior to, we spoke about this R. Kelly situation while the court proceedings were actually happening, and he actually was arrested while having the other young ladies that were in custody along with him at the time. So now hearing that, yeah, they're pushing that 25 years, and he is honestly, they're considering a life sentence because due to his crimes, he is eligible for a life sentence. But however, it seems like his attorney is trying to fight that. So here we are with it. And just to give you guys a rundown of the charges that's up there when it comes down to R. Kelly, the Racketeering Act 1 bribery 12 racketeering Act 2 sexual exploitation, 32 racketeering Acts 3 and 4 kidnapping and Mann Act violation. Um, Acquitted racketeering, Act 5, Mann Act violation, Geronda, which is one of the females that spoke in the documentary that was done, which if you guys are not familiar, her last name is Geronda Pace. That is 24 racketeering, Act 6, forced labor for Geronda Pace, 32 racketeering, Act 7, sexual exploitation of a child, that's also under Geronda Pace. 32 racketeering Act 8 Mann Act violation Jane, and we're gonna say Jane Doe because they don't want to I guess give out that person's name, so it comes up as that. 14 racketeering Act 9 Mann Act violation. 24 racketeering Act 10 Mann Act violation, and that's also under Jane Doe. 11 forced labor, that's also under Jane Doe. 22 racketeering Act 12 Mann Act violation, that's under Faith. That's also one of the other females that also was a part of the documentary that's also in this case. And he also has a couple of more charges that goes under Act 13 forced labor with the same female Faith, and 22 racketeering Act 14 Mann Act violation Faith 14. Okay, federal prosecutors offer different offense levels on most, but not all of the above acts. For instance, for Act 2, the feds recommend an offense level of 34, not 32. For Act 7, the feds suggest an offense level of 36, not 32. Interestingly, though, for Act 6, the feds suggested an offense level of 22, not a level 32. A suggest a suggest by Bonjean. Bonjean argued the same of the accounts should be grouped together for calculation purposes as follows. Racketeering Act 1, 12 Racketeering Act 2, 32 Racketeering Acts 5, 6, and 7, 32 Racketeering Act 8, 13 Racketeering Act 9, 10, counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, 32 Racketeering Act 11, 22 Racketeering Act 12, counts 6 and 7, 14 Racketeering Act 13 Racketeering 22, 14 counts, 8 and 9 racketeering. So that's what pretty much his attorney is saying that should be possibly put out on the table that they should be able to fight against, not the previous charges that was put up there. And we got Ultimate K Man in the building. Hold on, let me add you to the stream, Ultimate K Man. So I'm gonna tell you, when rolled together, Bonjean says R. Kelly offensive level is 35. That's because the highest offense level is 32, and the level increases by 3 due to the number of groups listed above when charted out with a criminal history score of 1 on a federal sentencing chart that puts R. Kelly in a prison cell for 168 to 210 months, according to his defense. What do you guys think about that?
That shit is crazy.
Hold on. What happened
Finally
to the
got
Ultimate
him.
K?
I mean, you gotta think about it. After 30 years of getting away and operating with impunity, don't you think the time that he gets suffices? Time that he was operating with impunity? But it's not fair in a way that only he is held accountable. There's a lot of other players that aren't being held accountable. So R. Kelly's like the fall guy.
I agree with you 100% when you say he's definitely the fall guy, but to some degrees, unfortunately, he's going to have to take accountability for his actions and the actions of those that assisted him in his process of committing the crimes that he was committing. And the sad thing about it is he knew he was committing the crimes because he was hiding it. He just happened to get caught up and he didn't do and I guess, you know, track his tracks properly. Um, for me, I think like they all should be locked up personally. The government's evidence showed that R. Kelly was a famous entertainer who employed many people over the years. R. Kelly was unquestionably the boss of all his employees. The government falls short of establishing that he was a leader of criminal activity. Indeed, the government did not even attempt to prove criminal activity of the organization or the employees of the organization. A four-level enhancement is simply not warranted. I mean, they knew what he was doing the first time around with Aaliyah, pretty much, because that's where that statement was stemmed from, because they knew what was going on with Aaliyah. Okay, uh, her parents surely knew, but she was only 14 years old. And he was doing all types of shit and he married her. I mean, I don't know how to feel about that. I know he's damaged and I know that he was abused and he went through things himself. But like I said, I just feel like he's going to have to take accountability for the actions and the actions of those that helped him commit the crimes that he did. Puerto Rican 360, what's on your mind?
I'm here, my bad. Well, I'm gonna say this, right? Uh, he needed to, he needs to, you know, reap what he sows because he did a lot, and the other people that helped him, they did a lot too. And they should also be facing some kind type of ramification because they helped him, you know. Is that gonna happen? Probably not. More than likely not. But listen, enough is enough already. You can't keep doing shit like that and think it's okay, And then to top it off, you know, you're a black man and you had so many people that looked up to you, all these children that used to sing your song at their graduations and stuff like that. Like, certain songs moved people and inspired people. And you were over here doing these things. It's
Mm-hmm.
just horrible. It's horrible.
It
And sorry
definitely
to
is. And
say, but he deserves what he's getting. Is what it
I
is.
agree 100%. I agree 100%. And you know what's so crazy? The Jane Doe that's on the case, I mistaken that for Aaliyah, but you know who the Jane Doe is? The Jane Doe is Azriel Clary.
Oh, Asriel, yeah. That was
Yeah,
the last ones that was his girlfriend. There was two of them. The last two, she's one of the last two. And
right.
she's the one
And that's the whole
actually that in recent time, she's the one that said she was going to disclose more information.
thing. Well, she did get a chance to speak on the stand, but under a theory that the parents entrusted R. Kelly the supervision when she was a minor to purportedly to assist her with musical career, after which Azrael lived with R. Kelly. The record, the record of like the recordings that he did of her is certain recordings and tapes of like sexual acts and things that she had to do, I guess, along with other females. All of those things they're trying to say and trying to flip it as though the parents had full knowledge to what was happening, and what is being perpetuated is that he did not have no intentions to assist her with no music. His intentions was solely to be with her and date her. But where they messing up at with that is, regardless of what, when you met her, she was a minor. Azrael had to have been like 17 years old.
Now she was 15.
No, she was 17 years old.
Oh,
Azrael
I
was
thought I thought
17
she was 15.
when they got acquainted with each other. Her parents took her to a concert, and she was 17 years old when her parents took her to this concert. And that's how she was introduced to R. Kelly, because she was one of the females that actually went up on the stage. And
There was
then
one,
he requested for her to come back afterwards.
right.
And her parents was with her.
There was one female that broke my fucking heart, man, on that documentary. The one that he made look like a boy and made her get all these tattoos like a boy, and her mom
Yes.
found, found the hotel she was in. Man, that broke my heart.
And it's so funny. I cannot remember her name, but she is so damaged to the point where she really doesn't want to have no parts of it, and she definitely
She
doesn't want
doesn't.
to revisit any part of her traumas when it comes down to the R. Kelly situation. She was one of the females that was there that was forced to eat feces.
Yep.
Um, she was forced to cut her hair, dress like a boy, and she was also constantly being beaten. And it's sad because now, she's married and she has a baby.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of her reason of not even wanting to go back down to even go through the whole court proceedings to have to revisit all that pain, because I'm sure she definitely is not healed from that traumatic experience, especially from the type of mother her mom looked like. Now, it was a lot of saying that the parents had involvement in some shit, but what I would say when it comes down to the parents was, there's no way that I'm gonna take my child to go see no grown ass man at no concert that's gonna be gyrating and bumping his pelvic area up and down, because guess what? My child that's a minor does not need to be seeing those things. I don't care if she's 16, 17. Listen, when she hits that age of 18 to 21 and she wants to do that with her friends, then fine. She'll probably have to sneak and do that shit too, mind you. Because for me, I'm not going to take my child to go see no man nowhere, because I'm looking for my child to get no music career. And even if you come to, oh, I could give your child and make your child a star. No. Oh, just leave her. No. Oh, just leave him. No. No. You see, the thing about a parent, you got to always think 10 steps ahead. And because of so much demonic shit going on when it comes down to the children, where they sex trafficking and selling parts of your children body end up in the black market and all that type of shit. Come on. So this is where, for me, I hold the parents accountable, because you opened the door to allow the devilishment to come in, because what you seen was fame. I don't know. Where you guys feel about that? Do you think the parents should be also held accountable for their daughters that ended up in the care of R. Kelly, for those who had parents that were around? I guess the ultimate came in Puerto Rican
Definitely.
360.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry. Definitely. I'm
I'm
pretty
still
sure that
here.
at
I'm
this
still here.
point, those parents are, regretting doing what they did because they caused their child a lot of harm and
Mhm.
despair. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes us parents, we fuck up. We think that we're doing something right and it ends up being something catastrophic and the worst thing. But, listen, when you do shit, you don't, one thing my grandfather always told me before he passed away, you don't leave this earth until everything that you have done bad is over. You know what I'm saying? That's just the bottom
Mm.
line. If you were a
I
bad person
mean,
or you did fucked up shit, you not the universe ain't gonna let you go until you have repaid all your debts. So
And I mean, rightly so. Rightly so. And I think he definitely deserves to pay, off everything in which he did to a lot of the young females. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, certain females I didn't believe because I mean, not for nothing, you can just tell um a person that has been traumatically, physically abused. It's something that they give off when they speak, whether it be in body language, but you can always be able to identify. Now, it was certain females, it was very questionable, but for all the females that he did damage, definitely. And for Aaliyah, may she rest in peace because I feel like Aaliyah would have had, um, you know, a better life. Yes, this obviously wasn't a plans for how her death happened, but during her childhood, I don't think she had to go through any of the things that she had to go through. And the most saddest thing about that was when you go into the depths of understanding some of Aaliyah's story, you get to understand that, yeah, her uncle Barry Hankerson played a part in it, but also her mother played a part in it too. And her mother also was talking to R. Kelly at a point in time. So it just like it was sad to know that a lot of the music that she made when I was young, I really didn't connect the dots. So now that I'm older and I'm understanding how the devilshment plays and all the demonic energy that lies within the music industry and all of that stuff, and then going back and listening to some of her lyrics made me realize that she was actually speaking her pain through her music. If you go back and you listen to 4 Page Letter, age is nothing but a number, like all certain songs you'd be like, damn, like wow. And when you're young, you just listening to music and you're listening to the beat, and it sounds so soulful and so good, but you really don't understand the true meaning. And she was really speaking her pain through her music. You know what I'm saying? And to be 14 years old, to have a big grown man laying on you and taking advantage of you. Listen, even when she did the interview for MTV, and that was like maybe 1995 or some shit, and they was dressed in the same outfits, and you could just tell how he had everything under control. Like he had being a predator under control, and it's sad. Yep. So guys, this
well,
is words that's. I'm
well,
sorry. Say it again.
oh no, what I was gonna say to you was just like how you were saying um in her music she spoke her pain and things of that nature. He
Hmm.
also too gave you a whole description on what the fuck he was doing, and people just didn't realize. Like if you if you listen to 12 play, he gives you a whole breakdown on what he's doing. He says, one, we'll go to my room of fun. Two, and I'll take off your leotard. Three, because tonight I'm gonna fulfill your fantasies. Four, lie down on the floor. Five, cannot wait to come inside. Six, anything that's open, I'm in there. Seven, spread your legs apart. Eight, feel me, I'm so hard. Nine, can you wanna something about bump and grind? So he
No,
gives you a
he
whole
said something if you want it from behind, and then
right,
11. Yeah. Hmm.
right. So he gives you a whole freaking description of what exactly he was doing, you know?
Which is, this is what I'm saying. And then when being young back in the days, you thought that was love making music. You didn't really understand that that was predatorial music, and he was just speaking what he was feeling and the things that he was going to do and act upon because that's what he was feeling. And the saddest part about it is the money that was coming in is what allowed him to be able to do the things that he was able to do to these young ladies, alongside him already painting the image of his mind of, guess what? Nobody cared about me when I was probably being violated as a young black kid. So guess what? They don't really care about young black children these days. So I'm gonna just go after the young black children because they ain't gonna really be on the radar. And that's I feel, and that's exactly how I am receiving what took place throughout the journey of just looking at the documentary, hearing certain people talk about certain things regarding R. Kelly, like his traveling managers, which they should be in jail because they played a part in it. Um, and a lot of people who still have money. It's people that R. Kelly is broke, but people have supposedly, allegedly, let me say it like that, he's broke, but the people that was, his henchmen, they're good.
Well,
I mean,
that's only because they cooperated. You understand? They cooperated. A lot of them. The first person that cooperated was the individual that gave up the tape.
yeah, but you cooperate and still doesn't mean that you won't end up, say you end up working for another celebrity that happens to do the same thing that R. Kelly was doing, then that means you're going to do the same thing that you did for R. Kelly for somebody else. And so the saga would continue of having people backing up these celebrities and because they have the money and and you allowing these people to walk with no consequences where they're liable to continue to do the same thing to continue to make their money. And I'm sure it's more celebrities, as we know, that's out there that's into that sex trafficking, child pedophilia, all that shit. They listen, it's real. But
Oh
they
yeah,
also have a lot of people that's backing them up in order to get these type of things that they want.
yep,
Very large network. There's a very large network of human sex trafficking going on. It ain't only just entertainment and sports. It's bigger than that. Politics, religion, there are many other
yep,
facets of life.
yeah. They were
There's a lot
told.
of human sex trafficking going on. And it's just so happened that we needed a story for, today's time dealing in, hip hop. It's funny how, somebody of color has to take the fall for this shit, whereas you got Kevin Spacey, he was made to apologize and he turns around, he's doing the same thing in London.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And the saddest thing is that it will continue to happen that way where we will be examples for shit, regardless to what. We will remain to be the examples, and we know this, but it's sad that when you are made to be the example for the shit that you're doing, as far as when it comes down to that pedo shit and sex trafficking, you know, young women, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But you guys know how I feel about certain things when it comes down to just the children. And I'm just happy that justice is able to be served to a certain degree because, like I said, I feel like all of them should be penalized for the acts that they helped R. Kelly contribute to. I'm here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, I couldn't agree with you anymore. He been operating with impunity for over 30 years, slinging
Hmm.
his piss and playing his music in a Pied Piper type of style, serenading people with his music and getting you to look the other way while he videotaping his egregious acts with, young women and many other women. It wasn't only just young women, all types of women. R. Kelly, he's a sexual deviant. He's a degenerate scuzzball, who only real talent was singing and writing music.
Right.
Hmm.
And now that you mentioned that, my wonderful husband, um, people don't realize. Remember, what was his little alias? The Proud
The
Piper.
Pied Piper. And the
Right. If
Pied Piper
you
was famous for, playing the flute to lure away children so he can
right,
do
that was
sexual
an
acts with
old right. That's an old folk tale about a
them.
man that used to play a flute, and his music was so beautiful it used to attract all the children. That's just
Mm,
something to think about.
yep, and it's still doing it. There's still a lot of them out here that's doing it. Even some of these rappers, because they are basically being able to serenade your children using the words that come out their mouth and that beat to then have your children out there thinking they the biggest gangsters or shooting up shit and robbing shit and all types of shit. See what I'm
See,
saying? And it's just in
yeah,
a different form.
it's the spells that's put on the music as well. See, a lot of people don't know. Spells were put on the music for people to like what you hear. You know, when they cut the record, they take it upstairs like to the special room, and they pray and cast spells on the record so people can be hypnotized by the music.
I listen. I can see it, and people, and even people, the young youth of today is very hypnotized by the music. Even me as an adult, certain beats you'd be like, "Oh my God," but then you have to really catch yourself because you already know what that's hitting for and why you are feeling the way you feel because of the hertz, the megahertz of the music. So now I'm telling you, it's crazy because earlier today doing that 2 hour live, like we said, it's like you can go down a rabbit hole. It's a very, very, very deep rabbit hole. And it just seems like it keeps going and going and going, and it probably never ends because trust and believe me, as you uncover it, just like you keep on uncovering and going deeper and deeper and deeper. Um, but I just need the rest of the other people that's out here to also be put to justice if they are also involved in the sex trafficking, child pedophilia, and anything else that you could think about. Give me one moment, guys. You could hold it down for a moment.
Shit,
What?
personally, I think R. Kelly gonna tell on whoever else is maybe responsible or whoever else is involved in those acts or type of things that's going on. As far as from like a hip hop and R&B sector, I mean, let's not forget about Harvey Weinstein going down, for his acts as far as harassing and sexual, acts with women and this and that. So he represented the Hollywood, the entertainment field, and that's why Hollywood ain't even rocking no more. Just because you see movies coming out, a lot of these movies was old movies that was sitting on the shelf before the pandemic hit, and now they just dusting them up and putting them out there so they can keep people entertained and distracted. But Hollywood is really no more. You know, Atlanta is like the new Hollywood now. As far as like with Tyler Perry and his studios and this and that coming out of Atlanta. Hollywood's really no more. You don't really got no real movies coming out of Hollywood like that, like how it used to be before Harvey Weinstein, was found guilty and this and that. But R. Kelly, like I never really was a fan of his music. His music never really done nothing for me. I always felt like he was a copycat ripoff of Aaron Hall. Aaron Hall was from the group Guy. You know, he was always like a copycat ripoff. Like when he first came out, he had a group with him called the Public Announcement. A lot of people don't remember that R. Kelly, when he first came out, was R. Kelly and the Public Announcement. So I guess his weird acts probably scared them off, or they didn't want to go along to get along. Go along with the program. So he dropped that group, and then like by his second or third album, it was just regular R. Kelly and Public Announcement. They was just diddling in the wind, trying to get gigs and put out their album however they seen fit or however they could. But R. Kelly, he dropped the group and he went dolo, and he was just regular R. Kelly. And that's when he came out with the 12 play album. Around that time, he met Aaliyah. That's when Aaliyah came on the scene. But see, this is one of the key things that we keep forgetting. Yeah, Barry Hankerson did play a role in breaking Aaliyah in. That's how she was on Star Search. Ed McMahon also too. because in order to go on Star Search, you had to get funny with Ed McMahon. So, Aaliyah, she was already broken in before she even met R. Kelly. So when she was like basically sold to R. Kelly, because that's what it was like an arrangement, you know, like a contract, she was sold to R. Kelly for a period of time. And she was with him for a period of time, and then by 97, they was no more. And by then, Aaliyah, she come out with One in a Million, and now she was getting vetted and fitted for Hollywood role. But by then, she'd been passed around by, numerous people in the industry. Not only R. Kelly, Ghostface Killer, Jay-Z, Damon Dash. These were like the last two men that she was, with in her life before, her life was tragically cut short. Was Jay-Z, then Damon Dash. So Aaliyah was already, primed and vetted ever since she was like 9 years old, 8, 9 years old. She was already broken in, unfortunately. And that's how this game is. They prey on the kids. They prey on the kids because a kid's soul is very innocent, very pure. You know what I'm saying? A kid's soul is very pure, and you can get a lot out of a child as opposed to an adult.
That is very, very true, King Tube TV. That's very, very true when you make that statement. And that's why I feel like when I do come on, I'm always trying to just level up the awareness of what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Our children, they may want to venture off in certain things, but they don't really know what that entails and what contract you may have to sign. And that contract may just as well be your life. And it may be your life in many different ways. Your life cannot only be taken one way, and that's not just by the grave. As we know, you can be sitting behind bars until it's time for you to hit the grave, right? So it's like, I do, like I said before, I feel like, he does deserve it. I don't feel bad. I do feel sad because he's just another example of a broken child that was damaged with a beautiful talent that had to use his talent to be able to hide the pain and to also use his talent to be able to hurt others the way he was hurt because that's all that he knew. So that's what I'm saddened by. And for all the people that knew what was happening and it was wrong, I don't feel nothing for those people. Like I said, I just feel like they need to be locked up. They need to serve just about the same amount of time that he does for facilitating those acts. And people will say he's a victim, which he probably is a victim to a certain degree, even by the people that work for him, because they knew he was illiterate to obviously to a heightened degree because he had a lot of people handling a lot of everything that he was doing. So the only thing he was really great at was singing and writing songs and trafficking women and sexually abusing women and boys.
Hmm. Melly Mel said it best. A child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind.
That's perfectly. That was so eloquently said. And with that being said, Kane to TV, I am about to head out of here. And this is the Odyssey Podcast with your girl Word Justice. Please subscribe, hit the up like button, notification bell. So every time that I go live, you guys will be in the room. I already know it's late and I ran in here real quick. So I know my peoples was gonna come and view the video. So I hope you guys really enjoyed what I put out there as far as content wise, but I definitely wanted to just drop in and speak on this R. Kelly situation since I was following it from before. And I'm so happy to have, my panelists come up and also engage with me and, just always drop very educational jewels and also history on things that we are not aware of, especially me. Sometimes I'm not aware of things, and Ultimate K Man always comes through with those jewels of things that I may not have been aware of back then. So I'm always like so grateful for that. And also Puerto Rican 360. And like I said, guys, I will be back again and I will be following the story on a continuous basis to find out when he's finally sentenced. It was originally supposed to be June 15th of this year, but they pushed it back to the 27th. So I'll definitely be keeping posted up on that and keeping you guys updated. And I want to thank Puerto Rican 360 and the Ultimate Cane Man for actually bringing this story to me, because I would not have even known about the story until probably tomorrow or something. So I just want to give them a special shout out and thank you for just looking out and letting me know like, oh shit, this is what's happening, and keeping me aware. And this is why you always need people that's like-minded, great people around you, because they always keep you on your toes, always keep you alert. So Ultimate K Man, I'm gonna let you end it off. Just do what you do, let everybody know where they can find you at. Also Puerto Rican 360 and all that you guys have to offer as far as your beats, shirts, and everything else. You go right ahead, take it away.
Well, y'all already know Ultimate Kane, man, making the beats. You can find me on IG, Ultimate Kane Man 7, or Skull Crusher, Skull Crusher 7, IG on Instagram. Also, you can find my lovely wife's new page, Usale Designs, on IG, where she will be promoting and displaying her lovely artwork and clothing line. We have a t-shirt line where we have original photos that my wife does as a freelance photographer in her spare time, and she puts it on t-shirts and canvas art. So you can holler at us on IG. Ultimate K Man, peace out.
Thank you, Ultimate K Man, Peace, and Puerto Rican 360. And like I said, please go check them out. I'm telling you, you would not regret it. And just check out Genuine Artistry, the First Lady NYC presenting Auntie's House. Also check out Millennial Queens with Mimi. She'll be up there, doing her shorts and her uploads and all that great stuff. And also, I'm hoping I'm not missing nobody. Check out Savage Royalty. She's on Just Face It. She's on at 5 p.m. You guys can catch her right here on YouTube. And yeah, this is your girl Word Justice, the Odyssey podcast. And like I say, please subscribe, hit the up like button, notification bell, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And even if you don't like it and you tell a friend, trust and believe me, I appreciate it, because whether you give good or bad review, they're going to still come and check it out and judge for themselves. But you guys already know I appreciate all my subscribers. Thank you guys so much, because I know you guys are going to come in the room and look at the video and give me a thumbs up. But keep me in that algorithm by keeping the thumbs up. And trust me, it's free. So, I ain't asking for much. All right, guys, have a blessed night. And Ultimate K Man and Puerto Rican 360, have a blessed night. And I want to thank you guys again. I'm grateful.
Absolutely, Justice. Likewise.
All right, guys, peace out.
Peace out.